Hi friends, my name is Kate. I live in Portland, Maine, and this is my petite urban garden, Zone 5B. I would love for you to walk around with me. Let me show you around. All right, so here is the garden. My attempt at starting a potager garden. There's a beautiful pink mint clematis, it's second year. Actually, most of these plants are in their second year, so it's nice to see them start to mature and fill out. I have some David Austin, James Galloway climbing roses I'm trying to train up the sides. Some planters there with some sweet potato vines, some super petunias. My allium, my Globemaster alliums are so fun. And this patio my husband and I put down 2 years ago. And you'll see my flowers, my ranunculus are just starting to bloom. And here we're too cold where we can't overwinter them in the ground, so you have to pre-soak them or pre-start them. And I had probably 70% success with my ranunculus, and here are my sweet peas, which I'm going to train to climb up my makeshift trellis. And dahlias, and looks like I'm getting a close look at some, I believe, white flies in there. We have an issue with aphids and I think some white flies that like to chomp on some new growth. And I do my best to keep those at bay, and whether that's spraying them down with water or using neem oil, I like to stay organic. And here are some plants that I picked up at a local master gardener sale for a local college. My anemones and asters, which I'm very excited to plant. And here's my garlic, which I started last fall. And I'll be harvesting these hopefully in July. Here's one of my long raised beds that I am growing some corn in, some ambrosia corn, along with some volunteer sunflowers from last year, a little bit of borage, and some red sunflowers that I started earlier this year that are just cranking away. And sometimes I like to leave volunteer seedlings in place if I know that I have a use for them, like this Cosmo here I plan to use for cut flowers. And it's just pretty. And here's my incredible hydrangea, which was kind of an experiment where I took a basket and lined it, hot glued it with a trash bag, poked some holes, and overwintered it. And now it's growing and cranking away. And here's a look at one of my ranunculus, which it looks like the inside is just glowing. It is so gorgeous. Look at that pink. I love it. They just started blooming this past week for the first time. And an important note is when you do harvest your ranunculus, you want it to be at this pillowy marshmallow stage. That way it opens up while you have it inside your home or in your arrangement. It has a longer base life. And here's the back end of the garden, the side garden. You'll see a bunch of tulips that now have died back, so I get to cut those back. These are second year tulips. You'll see salvia in the back. So what I do is I like to trim these just maybe an inch or two to the base. That way it sticks out when I go to plant. I know I'm not going to have risk of disturbing those bulbs. In my Froberg Norway Spruce, you'll see I have to have that stake so I can train it to grow vertically, otherwise it has a weeping effect or weeping growth habit. Some sunflowers that I started from seed. Iris, I believe that's Echinacea coneflower, hot papaya. You'll see a couple of poppy seedlings going. I took a note from the Impatient Gardener, a tip from her, Erin, where you sprinkle or winter sow poppy seeds during the winter on top of the snow, and it worked. And you just saw the black foliage is a laced up elderberry. So very excited to grow that. And those bubblegum Super Vistitunias I'm going to pop in around, I believe, this bed when I cut back those tulips. And I'll look behind the side garden. My husband and I, we had just installed this white picket fence on both sides of my house, our house rather, so I could have a cottage garden or work on a cottage garden in the front. So yay for more flowers and more beds. Another pot of sweet peas, and another look at dahlias, which I think this one may have a little bit more. Oh, there's the white flies, and some ants. But the yellowing, I believe, is from maybe overwatering right now. Some sweet romance lavender, very excited about that. Again, another look at the sunflowers. I can't wait for these to be growing alongside the corn. Oh, it's just going to be gorgeous. And the fencing is to help prevent the crazy squirrels from jumping in and, well, trying to prevent them from going in and ripping up all the sweet corn. And a look at my boxwoods. I just planted these last year, super tiny. They're flopped over right now just because we've had a bit of rain, but they'll start to perk up once they dry a little bit. But in a few more years, we'll have a hedge. And there's my alliums, Globemaster alliums. And right there is another incredible hydrangea that I actually have planted. These things are just so neat. I love these. And I'm going to have them dry and save the seeds from these so I can hopefully start them in more places around the garden. And I had just sprayed this down with neem oil because I'm having an issue right now with aphids. So just trying to control it and trying to do it organically. If you have any tips or tricks, please feel free to share and comment below. This is a method I'm trying to do to start some grass seed rather. I got the idea from Laura from Garden Answer. If you put down the frost guard, hopefully it helps. The thought is to trap in more moisture so that the grass seed can take. And I just planted, you saw the prairie fire crab apple, so I'm excited to have a little bit more established in the future flowering trees. My iris, bearded iris, my autumn frost sedum, and I'm in progress at a giant swoop of Super Vista tunia bubblegums along the front of my house. And this is Foxglove that I started from seed very early this year. You'll see a few of those that I have sprinkled throughout, so that will be really fun along with some snapdragons, but these are more Foxglove. You do have to be careful around pets with those though. That's just a word of caution because they can be toxic, but just keep a close eye. And then here's, some more snapdragons that I started from seed, and you'll see I did prune off the top or pinch back the top. That way it sends out new shoots to bush out a little bit more. So this front fence in the bed is all brand new as of, I think, 8 weeks ago. Next year I hope to install some drip tubing, but we're going to play that by ear and see. I may have to start in the back garden first. And here's my Seven Suns tree. Very excited about that. It's going to, in the future, give us some beautiful fall color. Some amaranth that I started from seed. Look how cute that is. I'm trying to focus on adding more flowers or annuals so that I can do cut flowers and hopefully have a little farm stand. Would be so fun. Some dahlias. Look, there's some more yellowing. I think things have had an extra drink of water, so we may have that going on. And here I'm going to harvest some ranunculus for a neighbor of mine right down the street. We've become fast friends with a love of gardening, Along with a few packets of seeds that I've saved from last year. So very excited. Something that I love about Maine is building community with your neighbors, and what's really fun is you'll find a lot of people around here are into gardening. What I really love so much about the community that I'm in is I'm getting to know my neighbors, and I just love sharing my love for gardening. It's kind of turned into an obsession, but I think it's a good obsession. So here I'm just doing a clean cut trim and cleaning off some of the leaves before I put it into this little vase before I give it to my neighbor, because you want to keep any leaves or foliage away from the water. That way the water still stays healthy, prevents bacteria from getting to the flowers, and just overall extends the health and life of your bouquet. Doesn't this just look so beautiful? I recommend when cutting any flowers that you just have a clean set of pruning shears. They don't have to be fancy. You could even just use some scissors if that's all you have, just as long as they're clean and you get a clean cut and sharp. Here you'll see that I'm using my Felcos, which I've fallen in love with. They're just really nice pruning shears. A little pricey, but you certainly don't have to start off with these. I didn't. I just started off with some kitchen shears and then worked my way up to a pruning shear, and then now I'm on to Felcos, and I love them. So this mix of ranunculus is called Happy Mix, and I believe it's from Eden Brothers. The mix is from Eden Brothers, and I think it's just that. It's a very happy mix. Oh, those orange and pinks. I love it. All right, now here's a little seed care package that I'm giving my neighbor when I go to see her this afternoon, walk down to her house. This is inspiration from Linda Vodder, creating little personalized seed packets to give away. If you haven't checked out her channel, please do so. I just love everything she does. So these are all seeds that I saved last year from my garden. I'm so excited to give them away. And I have some sweet pea starts that I'm going to give my neighbor, and these are the beautiful ranunculus that I cut and harvested, and a little propagation of a Thanksgiving cactus that I have. I'm just so excited, and if she doesn't already have cactus soil, I'm gonna pot up the terracotta pot right there with that anyway, just so that she has the proper soil for that cactus. So thank you so much for joining me. I really hope to have you by again. Enjoy, be well.